What do you make of this decision by both Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss to pull out of tomorrow's debate? Do you think it was sensible, given the clearly deep divisions that were on the show yesterday?
Well, I was always in doubt about the television debates. I mean, I thought that it's not the same as Prime Minister versus Leader of the Opposition, or even another party as well, where you have very distinct differences between you, and therefore, they can get quite fierce, but legitimately fierce in the run to an election. This is an internal contest to decide which of a group of Conservatives should end up as Prime Minister. So, bearing in mind that everyone's got to work together afterwards, it's probably not a bad idea to try and at least maintain a certain amount of semblance of unity, which is very difficult when you're in a contest in front of the camera. So we saw a bit of that last night. There were clashes. To be fair, I think so far they are at least proper debates about the issue. I think everybody in that panel understands and agrees the importance of reducing the burden of taxation, which is at an all-time highs. Well, not an all-time, but certainly since the last World War. So the question is when and how will you do it, which was really the clash last night. So I thought actually it was, in a way, good for the public to understand the nature of the argument. But the problem is always if you get too personal. So I guess it was probably right for them to say two's enough, easily enough. Maybe one was enough, and we don't need them again, because they've got to go to the country after this. So there's little or no point in doing this. And the cameras will follow them around and film their debates with each other as they travel around the country, whoever they are.
Yeah, indeed. Almost their every move over the next couple of months. In saying that, we know, and you're backing Liz Truss, and there is this kind of big policy divide on clearly taxation and the economy between him and the former Chancellor Rishi Sunak. But in many ways, it has got a bit more than a bit personal, actually, hasn't it? And we saw that with that exchange yesterday about Rishi Sunak, about her being a Lib Dem, and her talking about his school in Winchester, and Penny Mordaunt's clearly faced an awful lot of briefing against her, clearly from within other people's campaigns. It has got a bit bitter and a bit personal, hasn't it?
Well, these things do. I mean, it's a rough trade, politics at times. In a way, the public expects people to set their stall out and to be prepared to defend it. So to that degree, I think it's reasonably normal. I mean, I was thinking back the other day, I've been here for 7 leadership contests. I have managed 2, one successfully for Prime Minister, one unsuccessfully, and I stood myself as Leader of the Opposition and won. So I have some sense of this, and I do recall that they can get pretty heated, because it's the direction of a government, a party, and ultimately the country are big things to want to put your feet into, as it were. And I think it's important, therefore, that people understand who you are. So in a way, people got to see these candidates a bit better. But I would say enough's enough now. So I am in agreement that they don't need any more of this, because they've already shown what they want to show, and I think that's good enough.
Partly about policy, isn't it? And clearly Liz Truss has got a very distinct policy when it comes to taxation, and that will win votes among some of your colleagues on that who want to see the tax burden lowered. But politics is, frankly, we can't get away from this, about presentation as well. And there is a sense that, looking at the snap polls, that Liz Truss isn't necessarily the most charismatic person in the world, maybe a bit stilted, a bit wooden. Do you think that's a real Achilles heel?
No, not at all. In fact, if you look at the polls of party members, she is one of 2 that they want to see in the final round. Interestingly, not Rishi Sunak, ironically. It was, in fact, Kemi Badenoch. So the party members, which is where we're going to, is the critical. So the truth in life is always win the contest you're in, not the one that comes after it. You've got time to go and win that. And that's what's called governing, people to see who you are. I happen to think that Liz Truss has the capacity to be a Prime Minister. I think, remember, this is not for a leadership. This is for a Prime Minister. And what we've got here is a decision to take of people who have experience, have done things. We need to know what they've done, what they've been successful at. I thought Liz actually was the standout yesterday, in a way, because she was very up on her toes, as it were, dealing with Rishi Sunak and others over their debates. I thought she was very good. But the reality is she's got to go to the MPs right now, then she goes to the members. It's only when we get to a general election, and that hopefully won't be for a good 2 years, we've got a lot to do, then in that time of the next 2 years is her time, or anyone's time, to show themselves in what they do so that people can respect them. I always say, you want the public to respect you, not to love you. You can fall out of love, but with respect, you accept that people are doing the right thing for the right reasons, and that's the important feature. And I believe, genuinely, as people get to know her better, they will see what I've seen, which is she has real grit, and when she wants to do something, she does it.